Yes, you read the clickbait title right. I am once again reviewing fantasy swords. Because the last video did really well, and I was told that I had to. So let's go! Ah yes, reviewing fantasy swords. Something that no other YouTuber has ever thought of. Here we go, let's get started with the game Elden Ring. It's popular, let's take a look. Alright. Let's see how bad it is. We'll start with one they always get wrong. The longsword. Bring it up. Wait a minute, hold on. That's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, that's actually pretty good. So, it says longsword, 3.5 pounds, 3.5 pounds, and the blade profile is pretty good on that too. It looks correct. Yeah, that's a really good sword. No, they're correct. That is the longsword. We got that one right. No one gets a longsword right. I swear I've seen so many video games where the longsword weighs like 10 pounds or something ridiculous. A longsword would have weighed somewhere between, on the very low end, 2.5, and somewhere on the very high end, maybe 5, but usually like 4 is the max for a longsword. If you've got a 5-pound longsword, that's a really heavy longsword. So somewhere between 2.5 and 4, usually 3. 3 is a good weight for a longsword. 4 is really still pushing it. 5 is too much. And they've got the profile right. It looks like a longsword. It doesn't have any stupid fancy nonsense grafted onto it. It doesn't have a ridiculous crossguard. It's pretty standard. That is a longsword. Okay, Elden Ring, I see you. What else we got? You're not gonna get them all right though. Let's try, oh I got it. We're gonna do a rapier. No one gets rapiers right, they're always wrong. So let's look at it, bring up the rapier. Okay, that's pretty good. No, they got the weight right too. 2.5, 3 pounds. It's similar to a longsword because there's a lot of stuff up here on the hilt, and the blades were pretty long. So similar, slightly less. One-handed weapon. It looks good. It's not super overdone either. Again, it doesn't have some sort of like weird spikes on the blade. It doesn't have like points poking out everywhere. It's just a nice-looking normal rapier. Yeah, that's accurate. That's a rapier. That's a real rapier that would actually work. I'm impressed. 2 for 2, Elden Ring. I'm impressed. Okay. Let's see. Let's try and get him. Let's do a curved weapon. Let's do a scimitar. Bring it up. Okay. Again, pretty good. One-handed weapon, 3.5-ish pounds. I think it's a 3.5. 3 or 3.5 pounds. That's a little bit heavy, but the scimitar does have a lot of force at the end of it. It does have a lot of width at the end of it, so that's not an unreasonable weight because it does rely a lot on that power in the cut. Interesting, the Polish saber actually probably developed from the Poles' encounters with the Ottoman Empire, and so it's a little tidbit of history for you. So this is the precursor to the modern saber, which is fun. But they have a good one there. It looks, again, it's not super fancy. It's not like got jagged stuff coming out of everywhere. It's a nice, normal looking scimitar. I'm really impressed. Honestly, I'm really impressed with the weapon so far. But I guarantee you they're gonna mess up this next one because no one gets this one right. Show me a great sword. Okay, that's a claymore. And it's 9 pounds, which is relatively correct. When we're talking about like Montantes, usually there's somewhere between 6 and 8 pounds. 9's not unreasonable. There could be some even up to 10, but that's getting a little bit too high for my taste. But that's within the realm of realism for a greatsword. And again, it's a pretty traditional looking claymore. It has the down-turned crossguard. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay, so many different ones. Show me a flamberge. Okay, again, really good. I'm honestly really impressed with the accuracy that the developers went to make these swords look like they would have. They're very simple. They're not super ornate. They are what they would have been back in the day if they were actually being used. And again, the weight is correct. Honestly, I'm super impressed. Elden Ring, gold star, you win. We finally have a video game developer who understands how swords works. So, we can stop doing this series because Elden Ring solved it, video game swords are fixed, and I never have to review fantasy weapons again. Awesome, thank you, we're done. What? Wait, there's more? That wasn't all of them? These are the base tier weapons? Wait, so these are the bad weapons. So what do the good weapons look like? What's the grafted blade? Oh no. I thought we got somewhere. Oh, okay. Let's review it. How much does it? Oh my god. So it weighs way too much for a sword that you're actually going to wield. Not one you're going to be effective with. The construction of the blade is just a bunch of blades grafted together. It's in the name. Grafted together. So my problem with this blade is that even if it hits something, it's going to do a massive amount of puncturing damage, but it's not going to do any cutting damage. I mean, it might, but this is mostly going to be a piercing weapon because if it's like a spiked bat at this point, a really, really heavy. You know what? I think a spiked bat would be more effective than this because you're not going to be able to wield this. I mean, again, a video game. Obviously, it's a video game, but okay. Show me another one. Ruins sword. Does this sword even have a blade? Why is this in the... Okay, this is in the sword category. Why isn't this in the hammer category? Because this is just going to crush someone. I don't think this thing has a blade on it. If this is dull, is that... Someone find me the lore and tell me, is this thing able to cut or is it just crushing damage? And look at the weight! It's so heavy! Oh, okay, give me another one. The big ones are always the funny ones. The worm's scale blade. So it looks like a wing. Which side is the cut? Is this jagged edge the cutting edge, or is the back edge the one that you'd cut with? Is it like it doesn't look particularly sharp on the front edge? Again, look at the weight; it's ridiculously high. Oh my god! Oh no! I know there's a blade in this that is a giant finger. Pull up the stats on the finger. So is it piercing damage? Does it just poke you? Like, okay, all right. Elden Ring, again, just like with Skyrim, the base tier item is the one that is the most accurate. But of course, a video game, so they have to have all the big silly ones. So yeah, Elden Ring. Good base tier items, historically accurate, higher tier items, wacky, silly, zany, fun. And I understand, honestly, it's a video game, it's supposed to be silly, fun, it's not supposed to be real life. That wouldn't be quite as... In a game where there's giant monsters, you have to have giant crazy weapons to kill those giant crazy monsters. But honestly, I am actually, from the beginning of this, I'm actually impressed with how accurate the devs got these weights, the builds of the swords and all these other things for the base tier items, for the longsword, for the rapier, for the claymore, for the flamberge, for the scimitar. All of those are actually correct. And I don't know if it's because we have more people talking about these kinds of things and how swords are actually meant to be balanced and things, or if the devs really took interest in these things and looked them up and looked up like accurate representation of these things. But one of the things that struck me was the examples that we have here. They're not the really ornate swords that we see sometimes in museums, these really like elaborately done ones. They're the kind of things that would have been used on the battlefield. They're more simple. They are ergonomic. They're I don't know, like they're simple and efficient. They're not overly decorative. They don't have jewels all over them like you see in a lot of other video games. So I am really impressed with Elden Ring at the base tier, and I understand and appreciate that because of game mechanics and the way games are done, we're going to have some silly stuff on the upper end, and honestly, the grafted sword looks really fun. I think Elden Ring is one of those games, Elden Ring and all the Souls games are one of those games that have some of the most creative and interesting weapons on the high end. They're not accurate at all, and they definitely probably wouldn't work, but they're really fun and funny to look at, so... yeah, tell me what you thought. Tell me if there's a weapon that I missed that was your favorite that I should have reviewed. And tell me what game you want to see next. Is there a game out there that has accurate swords? Is there a game out there that has super inaccurate swords? And I guess tune in next time for when Swordsman review video games.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this or any of our other content, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Your support allows us to keep creating shorts, fencing videos, and our major projects. When you support the team on Patreon, you get access to behind-the-scenes content, discounts on merch, opportunities to game the crew, and so much more. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay up to date with all the fun stuff Sellsword Arts is doing. You can even ring the bell if you really feel like it. You can also join the community Discord and chat with the crew and other cool people with similar interests. And if you don't agree with something that I've said in one of these videos, you can always fill out the duel request form and challenge me to a duel so you can prove your point. You can find our Patreon and Discord link in the description. Additional links are in our bio. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next video.